Hi, I'm Katie from Australian Paramedical College, and today I'm joined by Ryan from Get First Aid. So today we're going to be learning a little bit more about Get First Aid, discuss our industry partnership, and what this really means for our students and graduates who are looking to get into the event medical space. So firstly, a huge welcome to Ryan. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's a beautiful office you guys have here. I love the ambulance, by the way.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. So I guess to get us started, I'd just love to learn a little bit more about your background and your role within Get First Aid.
So I've been in the event medical industry for about 13 years now. I'm the Director of Clinical Services. So my day-to-day, what it kind of looks like is I'm speaking to medics, speaking to event organisers about upcoming events, and looking at the different skills, different qualifications that all my medics have, ensuring that they keep relevant and up to date.
Awesome. And I guess just to give our community a little bit more insight into Get First Aid, what do you guys actually do for the community and what type of support do you provide?
Yeah, so Get First Aid, we provide services throughout New South Wales, ACT and now Queensland, which is primarily set around providing that first aid service on the ground. We do go a little bit more than just first aid. Most event organisers are very surprised when they hear our scope that we have on the ground. So what we really enjoy doing is giving people an opportunity to expand their clinical knowledge at the different events that we cover and look at the different skill sets which they can actually apply to the community. Primarily ensuring that we're not putting a burden on the local health district. So what we really enjoy doing is going to these events and helping the community out, only calling an ambulance when we actually require one.
That's great. And what type of events do you cover?
Wow, that's a very broad question.
A few.
So we do cover your small little school fates, but then we cover some pretty high risk, action-packed type of events. So we cover downhill mountain biking, for example. We've been covering a lot of motocross recently. And we also cover those non-for-profit community marathons, runs, type events as well. So we've got a variety of different types of events and different risk of events.
Yeah, wow, it definitely sounds like quite a broad range. And does anything come to mind, I guess, given some of those higher risk events that you've had to cover? Like thinking about the last 12 months even, any particular events or types of support you've had to give that really stand out to you that, I guess, come to mind or have been particularly memorable? Yeah,
so at Get First Aid, we have an amazing relationship with all the ambulance services. So when we respond to incidents, a part of our role and responsibility is to assess the patient and make a determination of what we need to do in regards to ongoing care of that patient. So that could be based on the patient's status or what actually happened to the patient. We might decide, well, actually, not only do we need a normal paramedic crew, but we might require intensive care paramedics or in some cases flight crews to attend the scene, and we'll communicate that to the ambulance services. And using the information that we have on the ground, we can then also coordinate other resources like rescue, SES, fire and rescue, and other community services that we will need to provide extrication of a patient. Extrication of patients can be fairly complex in some of the locations that we work. So working with other agencies like Fire and Rescue, SES is really important to us because having those great community relationships means the patient's going to get the best outcome. The amount of times that Get First Aid's had to reach out to organisations to get that support does really depend on the type of events that we cover. So we would typically see more advanced life support, so your paramedics and intensive care or critical care paramedics at those downhill mountain biking events. I know recently we were covering an event in Stromlo and we had a paediatric or child patient who came off his mountain bike at speed and he sustained a abdominal injury, and it was rather complex, that injury. I had a student with me that I effectively took a step back, an APC student,
Wow.
and I let that APC student step forward and give it a go. She did an amazing job. She really proved how this training at APC does relate to what we do at Get First Aid and the event medical field, and just the importance of ensuring that we're having a good relationship, not only with those services, but also with our APC colleagues as well.
Wow, that's I guess pretty incredible experience for a student on placement, because I can't imagine they'd necessarily expect to find themselves in that situation. So yeah, and to have your support, I think, in the moment as well, obviously goes a long way. But the fact that they were able to step up to the plate and have a go and really just put all their knowledge and training into use is quite amazing. And I guess touching on that a little bit more, just in case some of our students and graduates aren't quite aware, we obviously have a wonderful industry partnership between Australian Medical College and Get First Aid. So just touching on that a little bit, and we can delve into our students on placement a bit more there as well. Why did you want to get into an industry partnership with us, and I guess how does that help your business as well?
So we have a core value at Get First Aid, and one of those core values is ongoing training and development. We know at Get First Aid that we are a stepping stone for a lot of students that want to go into future roles, whether that would be paramedicine or medicine in general. So there might be more training which you guys can do within this clinical environment or training environment, which they can then bring out onto the field.
Yeah. And I know you've touched on this a little bit already, but what do you think the real benefit for students is having the opportunity to have that first-hand experience with you guys on placement?
Yeah, so we've had quite a few different students that's come out for placement with Get First Aid. Every student is different, and some students, what they need or what they want from Get First Aid is different as well. So we have those conversations with students. Primarily what we would want to achieve when a student is doing their last 20 or 30 hours, the senior medic or the paramedic who's looking after them is taking that step back and allowing that student to step forward and deal with these patients independently under their guidance. That's the goal of working with Get First Aid and hopefully obtaining a employment position with Get First Aid.
Which is obviously a massively exciting opportunity for them, and also beneficial for you guys to be able to fill those roles that I imagine are coming up all the time with the expansion of your business and working across a few states as well. But I guess just to step back a little bit, what can a student from APC expect on clinical placement with you guys? So I know that probably evolves over time, but like for someone that's never done it before and they're looking to step into that position with you, what's maybe a day in the life of, or what could they possibly expect?
Really fun, engaging environment.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I like to mention. Here at Get First Aid, we really value personality, and personality shines through everybody. So anyone who comes on placement with us, I want them to know that they have a really supportive, fun team around them.
Yeah.
I really enjoy working with the team at Get First Aid, even though that I am a director, I'm the highest point in Get First Aid. When I get on the ground and I treat patients, because I treat patients too, I always love to see the communication between the student and the medics and just the banter that takes place. A day in the life, paperwork. There's always paperwork. No matter what you do, we can't escape the paperwork.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's about getting on the ground, giving it a go, treating patients, meeting new people, and start those industry networks. In this industry and in paramedicine in general, having networks within the paramedic world is so important, because if you want to go to London or ACT Ambulance or even New South Wales Ambulance, having those network communications means it'll be a lot easier when you're looking at applying for those roles, because you can reach out to them and you can go, hey, this is what I want to do. So at Get First Aid, we do have people who work in state ambulance, and we start those networks early for our students that come through from APC.
That's fantastic. So basically, while someone's still studying at APC, doing their clinical placement, they can already start to build up their network, their connections, their profile in the industry before even graduating.
100%.
Yeah.
And even though they're students, we treat them like employees because we want to give them the idea of, well, if you were to work for Get First Aid, this is what to expect. So we add them to our rostering system. They can see what's coming up. And in our rostering system, they can see all of the staff that we have at Get First Aid, and they immediately have access to communicate with those people. So when students come on board with us, it's really important that we have those communications, understand where they want to go, so then we can support them build their network.
That's awesome. So it really is real world experience and preparing them for the next step as opposed to just a singular block of placement as a tick box. You really approach it that you're bringing them on the journey from the get-go with that real possibility of employment afterwards by the sense of it.
100%. Yeah, and of course, I don't have jobs for every student that comes on board. I could just imagine how many jobs I would...
You don't have a couple of thousand?
No, not a couple of thousand. That'd be insane. It'd be great for my business though. I'd love it, but no. And unfortunately, we don't have jobs for everybody. But it doesn't mean that we can't still help these students become better medics and future paramedics as well.
That's so exciting. And I guess just seeing the different students that you have worked with so far and supported along the way, what would you say is one of the most valuable lessons that someone might learn while doing experience with you, whether or not they do get a job at the end, but something that they can take away with them for their next step regardless?
Confidence.
Yeah.
I think confidence is key whenever you're dealing with any patient. But coming from a classroom environment into a field environment, it's very 180. We know that there's only so much you can do in a scenario. When students come out onto the ground, they start applying that knowledge. They start applying the information which is being taught by APC on the ground at these events, and that in turn gives them confidence when they do need to respond as someone who is qualified. They know what they're doing and they feel a little bit more confident to be able to tackle some of those harder challenges.
That's awesome. And I think speaking to what you were saying earlier around giving them that independence to get hands-on when you take the chance to step away and really let them go for it, I can only imagine what that does for them in building that confidence as well. And I think just applying anything theoretical or practical that they've learned in our workshops potentially in a real-world setting would just really set them up for every success, I imagine.
Yeah, no, it really does. And I know a lot of students are probably watching this and going, I'm doing so many hours, like, what does this mean? Like, how am I even going to tackle this? The hours are very important. And the hours mean over time that you do get that opportunity to shine in your own way. And we want to ensure, and APC wants to ensure, that you get the opportunities to develop your skill. Your developing your skill doesn't stop at your diploma. I know throughout my entire career, I've had to ongoing professional development and clinical development because things change in every industry. And of course, anatomy 101 doesn't really change, but in regards to protocols like drugs and how we administer and clinical structures, they do change. So ensuring that students keep up to date with those changes, and of course course changes as well, because courses change. We used to have obviously the Diploma of Paramedical Science, and now it's gone to the Diploma of Emergency Healthcare. That is a change.
Yeah.
So ensuring that people keep their qualifications up to date and remain industry current is super important.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually. And I guess just around what you were saying around individual students developing their skill sets and what have you. At APC, we do have a diverse group of students here. So we've got various ages and backgrounds and what have you. How does Get First Aid cater to those students who are coming on board for each individual and their different styles even, or level of communication potentially?
Yeah, so yes, we've seen multiple different people from different backgrounds from APC. I think what I'm really enjoying is the mature aged students coming through. So people who've got a really diverse background in different industries. And I'm loving the fact that people are thinking outside the box about how they want to progress through their next parts of their life. Obviously in healthcare, it's really fantastic. We get to help people at the time of utmost need, and the trust that a patient gives you, there's nothing that can really replace that. It's something so special. So in regards to how we work with different people, it's very much so student-led.
Yeah.
So each student have, I guess, their own idea of what their pathway looks like. So no matter if someone wants to come on board with Get First Aid or another organisation, I think it's really important that they start those conversations early and they talk about where they want to go in regards to their placement and ultimately what they want to achieve. If they have any concerns in regards to skills that they feel that they need to continue to develop and learn, because there's always stuff that we take away from placements or doing scenarios that we go, do you know what, I really wish I could do that one more time or try a different way or different method. Mention that, because we might have an opportunity for you out on the ground.
Yeah. And so I guess with people who do have different career goals, as we've seen, is quite common, whether or not they're wanting to go on to university to further their studies to become a paramedic, or perhaps their end goal is to be an event medic, whatever that might be. From your perspective, is it invaluable, regardless, getting that hands-on experience with, say, Get First Aid or another provider, to just get really clear on what those goals might be and how you can then support them in achieving them as well?
100%. Yes. No, we definitely want to make sure that, and I believe every service provider should be doing this, ensuring that we know where they want to go, ensuring that they have every opportunity to develop their clinical guidance where they want to, that pathway is so important.
Yeah.
And if they're working towards a paramedic or they want to be a paramedic, the diploma is a stepping stone. It enables them to go into university. Overseas, internationally, the diploma is still recognised. You can still take the qualification that you got from here to London, to New Zealand, to America. So the opportunities for a student isn't just here. You can go abroad, and knowing that they can do that, I think is really exciting. When I first started in this career, it was very much so isolated, where now other countries are going, hey, we need you. Please come over here. We would happily take your diploma and let you work under that framework.
Seems like the opportunities are a little bit endless as well. And even within Australia, just the different industries or sectors you can get into once you're qualified as well, whether it be mining or what have you. And I guess just to touch on what you were saying around different individuals and mature age students as well, we know sometimes people are hesitant to even sign up to study with us because they're nervous around I guess what they can bring to the role, or if it's really for them, or they haven't got any background. Like, from what I can tell from what you're saying, it's actually beneficial for them to come from different backgrounds, and it doesn't matter because you are learning. You do get plenty of hours to hone those skills, and it's continual development regardless as you progress through your career. So
100%.
It's good to know, I think, for our community of people that do have that maybe hesitance or lack of confidence to begin with.
Yeah, and I hear from students who do work with APC that when they get across the line with their first 2-3 units of that online learning, they're like, actually, it's not that hard. I know online learning can be quite daunting because you're not in a classroom environment. We all grew up going in a classroom and having a teacher in front of you and going through that. These days, it's all very much so online and self-directed learning. It's not as hard as probably what we're making out to be. And I think students should really give the deep dive a go, see how they go. And if they need support, I know APC can support them.
Absolutely. And it's something I think for us, we've evolved as a business as well too. And now, while much of the theoretical learning is absolutely online, we massively support the practical side of things. And of course, we have our workshops, but in partnering with businesses like yourselves to give people the opportunities to get really quality clinical placement opportunities, which can then lead to job outcomes, I think for us, really excites us, and we're just so proud of it as well, because it's really supporting that end-to-end journey. And where people may want more support or need more support along the way, that's okay, that's what we're here for, whether it be online learning or just building a little bit of extra confidence, whatever it might be. We've had some really great feedback, and I think to hear from yourself firsthand around students' actual experience and how they've grown is just really exciting. So yeah.
No, it's super exciting getting to see people come through and I guess think of it like an Easter egg. They come here, they start doing their couple of units with APC, they do their first workshop. So the first wrapper of the Easter egg is now opened. They go and do more units, they come to their second workshop. Now that Easter egg is cracked, it's open. That little chick's now running around, ready to go out and get their hands dirty. They come to us and now they're actually doing what they dreamed of doing. And seeing that progression and that confidence, that little light in their eyes just open up is really inspiring.
Yeah, and it sounds like as well, like the journey is a little bit endless as well. So even if someone is looking to go into university to become a paramedic, they can absolutely still get a job, work in the industry, get all that really valuable experience while they continue to learn or whatever they want to do, potentially move overseas, which is really cool as well. It sort of doesn't just end with graduation or getting a job at the end of it. And I guess to touch on that a little bit more, like the employment opportunities with Get First Aid, what types of enrolls do you employ?
So we have 3 clinical structures that fall under the framework of Get First Aid. We do have healthcare professionals, so doctors, nurses, paramedics, that also work for us, but with the APC structure, we work under 3. So we've got your medics, so those are people who are on the ground, still learning, still training, but we recognise that that person is who we want to hire. Yeah. So we've hired 2 amazing people so far into those roles, and once they get their diploma and they've had an additional 6 months of experience with that qualification, then they move into the advanced medic space. So medics can only do so much in regards to scope. They do have scope, they can administer certain medications, but in regards to when they're ready, we then push them into the advanced medic, which means it opens up a lot more different medications, different skills that they can use on the ground, and apply different levels of knowledge, and it's all the diploma, which they get taught here, they can do as an advanced medic. Then the next stage from that is usually years down the track. So it's usually about 3 years down the track. So, and that's our senior, so my level, I'm someone with a diploma. And the senior medics, they have multiple years of experience. They have different events that they've worked at, so high, low, major, small scale. We've chucked them under the bus and they've come out swimming. It's been fantastic, and they still love what they're doing. And the seniors take more of a team leadership, a guidance role. They're not necessarily patient facing. It's more of a, we'll let the medics and the advanced medics go forward and treat the patients, and if they need help, they still have someone that they can turn to and go, this is what I've got. What do you think I can do? I've done A, B, C, D. And then the senior medic can go around, okay, well, you've done that. Why don't you try this or do this? That might change the circumstance. So that ongoing clinical development is still there, even though that they've done their diploma and they've technically got a promotion because they've got a diploma. They're still working towards ongoing knowledge and clinical experience.
And it sounds like as well the career progression is there as well for people who want it, and it really is for them by the sounds of it at Get First Aid.
Yeah, well, I hope so. No, when we first started in our first year, we had people who came to us and they said, I'm an advanced medic. where do I go now? Like, what can I aim to achieve? So that's when we opened up the senior program, and we went, okay, well, these guys want something to work towards, so why don't we give them something? So that's when we started the senior program, and now we have experienced, qualified medics providing support to people who want to gain experience and knowledge. It's a sound operational strategy, and we've been using that strategy for the last 4 years, and it's benefited everyone. It's benefited the patient, it's benefited our clients, and some of our clients are major government. So they expect high level clinical support from us, and we want to ensure that the future generations coming through, or even the older generations are coming through, have that opportunity to share that knowledge which they have with these new people coming through now.
So I guess putting some of those essential qualifications aside and the real hands-on experience and skill set that people acquire along the way, what do you look for, whether it be an APC graduate or somebody else, when looking to employ someone for your team? Like any soft skills or traits that stand out to you?
Personality is really important. The ability to work with people and take feedback is also important as well. So ensuring that someone who is willing and open for ongoing clinical development is something that we look for, and the ability to work with different people. Get First Aid, we have medical students that come on board and work for us. So medical students, they do work differently from APC students, but then they also work differently from our paramedical students as well. So actually opening themselves up to see how different industries work, gain different industry knowledge from those other people who work in different elements of healthcare is what we look for. And I'm really fortunate to have an amazing group of people. Everyone that works for Get First Aid, I would happily give my child to them to help them. And I think that says a lot, because usually if you ask a parent, you know, would you let your child who's hurt be looked after by this person? And they say yes. That's the ultimate trust that you can actually give to someone. And there isn't anyone at Get First Aid at this point in time that I would say that I wouldn't trust with my child's life. Wow. And we have a great foundation, a strong foundation. We have amazing event organisers that we look after, and they also know the importance of what we do and providing that training and support to new people coming through. I always love it when I get an event organiser who turns around and says, we're supposed to have 3 people here, why do we have 4? Am I paying for 4? And we turn around and we go, no, you're not paying for 4. This person, they're doing their diploma, they're learning, they're here to learn. And they go, oh my God, you guys actually do that, that's fantastic. So the support isn't just from Get First Aid, it's also from the event organisers themselves. And they get excited when they see us take those students on, and they get, I guess, a free hand on the ground as well.
Yeah, when you put it that way, extra hands goes a long way, I'm sure, at these busy events. And no, that's fantastic. I think to just have that reception from the organisers as well just goes a long way. And I think for the student experience as well, to just have that positivity and extra support around them as well. I just got a couple more questions today. I guess thinking about someone who is keen to get into this type of job or industry or even study paramedicine, but they're feeling quite hesitant, or they're not sure if it's for them, or if, I suppose they're feeling like maybe they're not cut out for this type of job. Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, start with the conversation. Everyone knows someone who works in healthcare, whether that would be nursing, doctors, or even paramedicine. Actually starting those conversations, going, look, this is what I'm thinking of doing. They can definitely reach out to organisations like ours. We have had people call up and go, hey, I would like to come and do volunteer work. I'd like to come and actually give it a go. I want to see if this is where I want to go in my career. And we have done that. We have done work experience for people who've just come out, who just wanted to see what it's like to work. I'd also encourage them to have a conversation with you guys. I think that's really important, and to understand, because even though we work in the event medical space, as you've mentioned, there is mining, there's offshore drilling, there's so many other options for people. So they don't just need to come into our space, but there are others that might be more suited to their background. So having those conversations, starting them early, is important to understand where they want to go in their journey.
That's great advice. And my last
It's
question...
free.
We might ask a few more questions then. My last question for today, though, is obviously you've worked with us for a little while now. As an industry partner, you have the experience firsthand of getting to know our students and work with them on the ground as well. Would you recommend APC to anyone considering studying or looking to explore a career in pre-hospital healthcare?
Well, I think the relationship between Get First Aid and APC, if anyone who's watching this probably understands, it's very romantic. The communication that Get First Aid and APC have is very, very strong. There's not many organisations that Get First Aid trusts in regards to taking on students, and APC really shines. We get requests all the time from other training organisations that are doing the same qualification, and they're looking for people to take on students. But we found that students coming from APC, they're just ready. They're keen, they want to help people, they want to treat people, and they want to be trusted to treat people. And that's what we really enjoy working with APC. I would recommend APC, definitely. I would recommend people start those conversations, and I also know, because I've done my own research, that if people are having financial difficulties, there's other options for them. And so to start those conversations with APC early is super important. Everyone's position is different, and APC understands that. And I think those values and Get First Aid values, it's just a happy marriage. It works well.
I like it, the romanticising. I think we'll have to roll with that. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate your time today, Ryan. It's been awesome to have you here, and really excited for what the future holds for not just our partnership, but all the opportunities for our students and graduates as well. So thank you.
No, well, thank you for having me, and thank you for having me in your lovely Queensland office.
You're welcome.